Hey everyone, hey, this week's Buck Denver series, I hope you get a chance to look at the videos because it's talking about a ton of content in the fact that it's covering 3 books and 3 major stories of the Bible. That's Ezra, Nehemiah, and the book of Esther. I'll give you a quick basic rundown on what those books are about. At the start of Ezra and Nehemiah, there's a man named Cyrus who makes a decree, and he says, all the people who are in exile, which we talked about last week, the exile, all the people who are in exile can go home. And so the next few books are talking about, like Ezra talks about rebuilding the temple that had been destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. And then Nehemiah talks about rebuilding the walls around Jerusalem that also had been destroyed. And then Esther is a unique story about a woman who's an Israelite who marries an emperor, and how that comes about and how she saves her people. You may know some of those stories a little bit. I encourage you to watch those videos. I wanted to focus on today a little bit more about the verse Jeremiah 29:11, where God says to Jeremiah to tell the people before the exile, hey, you're about to go in exile, but I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to bring you hope and a future, plans to prosper you, not destruction. Good things for you. And here we see in these next few books, we see that the people of Israel do a very poor job of obeying the Lord. Meanwhile, some of these emperors are doing a pretty good job. Emperors who don't know really a lot about God. Cyrus, for example, wouldn't be considered somebody who followed God. But God said, I'm going to use him anyway. And so God uses him to make this decree to send the people home. But not necessarily followers of God. The people of God go right back to sinning. They go right back to what they were doing before. Remember, we talked about in the exile, they were sent away because they sinned. And God is getting to the end of the exile, and they're going to go right back to sinning. Just like with the flood, by the way. God said, hey, sin has gotten too great on the earth. I'm going to bring a flood. And then the first thing Noah did was right after that flood and right after he got off the boat, he sinned. And his son sinned. God is showing us through Scripture that there is no way to bring an end to this cycle of people sinning and needing God. The only way that God could ever take care of sin was to send his son to die for it. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, was a promise to Israel that one day they'd return. But ultimately, the plans that he had for Israel were not just that they'd get their land back, because they get their land back and they wind up in the same situation they're in. So these good plans that God has for them, to give them a hope and a future, aren't just about their land. It was about something so much bigger. It was about the Messiah who was about to come, and that's Jesus Christ. I hope you watch the Buck Denver videos. They're a good view this week. I know you'll enjoy them. There's some good stories in there. And until next time, have a wonderful week and God bless.